Intercostal chest drainage. So before moving on to the procedure, intercostal chest drainage, we should know the anatomy of pleural space. So what is pleura? It is the covering of the lungs and mediastinum. There are two pleural layers. From this picture you can see visceral layer, that is visceral pleura, which covers the outer part of the lungs, and the parietal pleura, which covers the inner lining of the mediastinum. So there is a cavity between these two pleura, that is parietal pleura and the visceral pleura. There is a cavity which is called pleural cavity. This pleural cavity has some fluid as well as some pressure. So what is the pleural fluid? It is the fluid which is present between the visceral and the parietal pleura. It is of around 10 to 20 ml. And this intrapleural space has a negative pressure which helps us in the movement of the lungs. During inspiration and expiration, it gives a friction as well as it reduces the friction, and it gives some surface tension which helps the lung to expand. So this intrapleural space contains pressure, that is negative pressure. At the end of the expiration, it is of around -5 to -8 centimeter H2O, and at the end of inspiration it is of around -10 centimeter of H2O. So if we see what is the definition of chest drainage system and chest tube. So chest tube, it is a catheter that is inserted into the pleural space or the pleural cavity to re-expand the lung. The chest drain, also known as underwater seal drain, that is UWSD, which are inserted to allow draining of pleural space from the air, blood or fluid which is present in excess, and allowing the expansion of the lung and restoration of negative pressure in the thoracic cavity. So what are all the indications? If there is any abnormality happens between this pleural space, that is in the pleural cavity, we need to do this chest drainage. So what are all the indications here? Traumatic pneumothorax. So any kind of pneumothorax, the treatment modality is intercostal chest drainage system. So what is pneumothorax? Abnormal collection of air in the pleural space. There is negative pressure, but if there is a positive pressure like air trapped inside the pleural cavity, we say it as pneumothorax. So in case of traumatic pneumothorax, we need an emergency ICD insertion. Hemothorax. So what is hemothorax? It is a collection of blood in the pleural cavity. Spontaneous or tension pneumothorax is nothing but spontaneous. It happens because of the bullae or air which is present in the inside the lung, which breaks and release the air into the pleural cavity, that is spontaneous pneumothorax. Tension pneumothorax happens which is very gradual and slowly increase in pressure, causing collapse of the lung. Chylothorax, it is the accumulation of lymphatic drain into the pleural cavity. Bronchopleural fistula, if there is any abnormal connection between the bronchus and the pleural cavity, what happens? The air from the bronchus comes into the pleural space, increasing its pressure. Emphysema, malignancies like any cancer in the lungs or lung tissues may also leads to pneumothorax. Pleural effusion, which is very common in case of chronic tuberculosis or in case of malignancy. So abnormal collection of fluid. We have discussed in the introduction part, the pleural cavity has of around 10 to 20 ml of pleural fluid. So if it is increases, we call it as pleural effusion, which suffocates the lung, causing collapse and respiratory failure. Post-thoracic surgeries, if you expect any drain in the pleural space or in the mediastinum, we put intercostal drainage to release all those fluid collection. That is post-thoracic surgery. So these are all the indications. We use it for the ICD insertion. Pneumothorax, hemothorax, spontaneous or tension pneumothorax or traumatic pneumothorax, chylothorax, bronchopleural fistula, emphysema, mostly chronic emphysema cases where the pus is collected between the pleural cavity, malignancies, pleural effusion, and post-thoracic surgeries. What is the purpose of this intercostal drainage? It is to permit drainage of air fluid from the pleural cavity. Excess amount of fluid or air, if it is present, we release it through the intercostal drainage. Establish normal negative pressure in the pleural cavity to equalize pressure on both sides of the thoracic cavity. So in tension pneumothorax, what happens? One side of the lungs pressure increases, which compress the mediastinum towards the other side. So to release the tension or the pressure from one side, we usually insert intercostal drain to provide continuous suction to prevent tension pneumothorax. So we will move on to the site of insertion in the chest tube. So when a patient complains of, when a patient is in need of intercostal drain, there are specific sites where we insert chest tube. Usually it is in the fourth and fifth intercostal space, that is for pneumothorax. So pneumothorax, if the patient complains and coming to the hospital with pneumothorax, usually the insertion site is fourth or fifth intercostal space in the mid-axillary or anterior axillary line. Why we insert in fourth or fifth? It is because the air is collected always at the upper part of the lung, whereas the fluid is collected at the lower part of the lung. That's why pleural cavity. So for pneumothorax, we insert the chest tube at the site of fourth or fifth intercostal space, and in case of hemothorax, the blood or the fluid which is collected actually at the lower part of the lungs. So hemothorax or pleural effusion, 8th or 9th intercostal space, it will be of helpful. In thoracic surgeries, usually we insert in the anterior side 2nd intercostal space and in the posterior side 8th or 9th intercostal space at mid-axillary line. So usually during the thoracic surgeries, the diameter should be wider and longer comparing to the ICD insertion for pneumothorax or hemothorax. So the site of insertion varies, depends upon the indication why we are doing intercostal drain. Types of chest drainage system. So there are different types of chest drainage system. We have seen this during our foundation course. There is 1 bottle system, 2 bottle system and 3 bottle system. So earlier days we were using bottles to drain the fluids or air. So we were using it as bottle system. But we have nowadays a ready-made chest drainage, that is closed chest drainage system, which is very, very effective and easy to handle, which is called Pleurovac. So 1 bottle system, generally this bottle system will have one longer tube which is from the patient, which is dipped inside the water. That is why we say it as water seal drainage, so that there is no air goes through this tube into the patient. Because the pleural space has negative pressure, there is high chance of atmospheric air enters into the pleural space. So to seal that, we always keep the patient's connection tube into the water seal. There is another tube which is a shorter one, which is above the water level, so that the air whatever is released from the patient in case of pneumothorax is being sent out through the shorter tube. So if it is a 2 bottle system, we will have 2 bottles, both the bottles with the water seal, and there is 1 tube which is connected to the suction tube. Or if it is a 3 bottle, we will have 3 bottles, and all at the last bottle it will be connected to the suction. So what is Pleurovac? It is a closed drainage system where there is no worry about changing the bottle or connecting the bottle, breakage of bottle, all those things. The company will provide a set of clamp, tubing, as well as water seal and the pressure gauge, which is and the collection chamber. So here this is the suction port. You can connect it to the suction if the doctor advise you. And there is a valve or the regulation where if you want to connect to the suction tube. There is a water seal here. You can see the chamber, water seal chamber, which is of around 20 ml. And there is an air leak monitor, the blue one here with the arrow, which will show if there is any air leak present in the system. There is a clamp here, the patient tube and the connector, and there is a chamber here of around 2000 ml, that is around 2 liters of fluid we can collect it in this drain system. So this is the Pleurovac, which is a closed chest drainage system, which is very easy to handle and reduces the infection or accident spilling or falling of the drainage chambers. So these are all the types of drainage system. The closed drainage system Pleurovac is very of helpful and seen in the hospital settings. Next we'll move on to mechanism of pleural drain, how the mechanism works. While inspiration, what happens, the increased pleural pressure happens inside the lungs. So during that time, the air or the fluid which is present in the pleural cavity moves into the bottle, which we are kept it outside, and the pleural space becomes negative. Negative pressure builds up in the pleural space, causing lung re-expansion. This is the therapy why we are inserting a tube into the pleural cavity. The inspiration normally increases the pressure in the cavity, which releases the air or the fluid which is extra present in the pleural space, and it increases the negative pressure, causing lung to re-expand. So what are the principles behind this chest tube functioning? There are three main principles which runs the chest tube or intercostal drainage system. The first one is gravity. So you can see always the chest drainage is kept below the patient's chest level, not above the chest level. So why it is? Because it increases the gravitation. It enhances the flow from high to low. Especially fluid can be drained by the gravity. Drain should be placed always below the chest bed, client's bed, that is below the chest level of the patient. The next one is water seal. We have seen in this picture in the one bottle or two bottle system, we seal the patient's tube into a water to prevent the backflow, especially to prevent the air, atmospheric air sucked into the pleural cavity. Because pleural cavity has negative pressure, the atmospheric air will be sucked into the pleural space. So to prevent that, we dip the rod or the tube into the water seal. Rod depth determines the negative pressure. So this dipping of the tube into the water seal gives a negative pressure. Air vent to allow the drained air to escape to prevent the pressure buildup. We have seen the shorter tube which we kept it above, that is actually called air vent tube, where the air is released outside in case of pneumothorax. Suction, the third principle here, actually there is a suction force will help to drain the fluid or the air easily or quickly. It is a pull force, must be in another bottle. So usually if you are having one bottle system, we never connect it to the suction. If it is 2 bottle or 3 bottle, we can connect it to the suction. Must be in another bottle, needed when gravity drainage is not enough. If you think the gravity will not help the patient to bring out the fluid, especially after surgery, post thoracic surgeries, if you want the suction to be effective, helpful, then you connect it to the suction. Needed when the gravity drainage is not enough. Patient's respiration and cough reflexes are too weak. The patient cannot do exercise or cough reflex. In that cases, suction will help the patient to bring out the fluid. So in some cases we feel the suction is important. Some cases we keep the patient in while with the gravity and water seal. So what are all the principles of chest tube? It is the gravity, water seal and suction. Next is equipments. So as a nurse, we will be preparing the equipments, articles needed for the intercostal drain connection. So usually the patient we will prepare before that we will prepare the equipment. So what are all the articles needed here? We will have 2 tray as usual, sterile tray with swab, cotton and gauze pieces for cleaning. Forceps, we will have sponge holding forceps, dissecting tooth forceps and artery forceps with scissors, kidney tray, sterile towel, trocar and cannula. So this is the trocar and cannula. The blue one is the trocar and the transparent tube is the cannula or the chest tube. So we'll have the sizes of 33, 25 and 30. It depends upon what purpose. For example, if it is pneumothorax, a smaller size is enough. If you want the emphysema in case of pus to bring out the pus, in case we need a bigger size. So it depends upon the patient's body and the indication we select the size. Syringe and needle of various sizes. Suture, because once we insert the chest tube, we usually suture it on the chest wall. So we need suture blade as well as Mersilk, and we need BP handle. A clean tray. So this is the trocar, the sharp needle like thing or blunt edged stillet, and the chest tube will be inside. For puncturing we use the trocar and after that we remove that. A clean tray will have sterile gloves, mask, connectors and tubes, 70% alcohol or cleaning solutions or betadine, whatever we use as per the hospital settings. Sterile specimen bottles to collect and give the samples to the lab. Elastoplast, scissors, local anesthetics, lidocaine and low suction pump ready to connect to water seal. So these are all the some of the other articles like what we discussed in the previous slides. Lidocaine, syringe, gauze, Mersilk, artery and clamp. So these are all the basic equipments we need for intercostal drainage system. Positioning. The next one is positioning the patient. We can position the patient in 3 ways. One is Fowler's position with the hands up on the insertion side. This is if the patient is comfortable in sitting in Fowler's position, you can make the patient sit in the Fowler's position. Or if the patient cannot sit comfortably and you want to make the patient comfort, then you can move to the second picture, that is sitting with a cardiac table and with the pillow, and patient can lie down with the hands on the pillow. Side lying with affected side elevated and hands above the neck, above the head, you can ask the patient to keep. Side lying position also possible if the patient cannot tolerate sitting position. So these are all the 3 types of position. You can make the patient Fowler's, sitting with a cardiac table, or side lying with the affected side elevated. We'll move on to the pre-procedure. So before starting the procedure, confirm the patient and the procedure what they are planning to do. Informed consent should be get from the patient or the relatives. X-ray and other diagnostic tests, especially you should look for the diagnostic tests and the X-ray to confirm the site and the diagnosis. What is the need of the ICD and which site they are planning to do should be checked with the X-ray, whether right or left side of the chest, because to avoid mistakes of the wrong site insertion. Prepare equipments as per the policy and need of the patient. Position the client as we discussed before. Administer painkillers or pre-medication as per the order. Usually they may give a mild analgesic or anti-anxiety drugs on prophylactic antibiotic to reduce the infection, site infection. The next is procedure. Prepare the area. Mostly it is done by the physician or the intensivist, and the nurse will be assisting him. Prepare the area with antiseptic solution. Infiltrate the site with local anesthetic agent. A small incision is made. If it is a chest tube they are going to insert, they will make a incision and they insert the trocar with the chest tube. So if it is a simple drain, what they do in case of pleural effusion, they just insert the needle or the catheter and they just take out the fluid. So a small incision is made and chest tubes are inserted with trocar into the pleural space. The tubes are sutured to the chest wall and connected with airtight dressing, covered with airtight dressing. So usually after insertion of the tube should be clamped and there should be a dressing, tight dressing should be applied around the tube. During insertion, the tubes are kept clamped. This is very, very important because the negative pressure in the pleural cavity sucks in the atmospheric air. So to prevent it, you have to insert the tubes. After insertion, you have to clamp it. Once the tubes are in place, they are connected to pleural drain and the clamp is released. Suction as per the order, you can connect. Fluid should be sent to the analysis from the sterile container and you can label it properly. So this is the picture which shows how to give local anesthesia to sensitize the skin and how to insert with the trocar with the help of the Kelly's clamp. This is, if it is a catheter, you insert it through the Kelly's clamp and this chest tube with the incision and it should be fixed. What is a nurse's role? Nurses play a main role when handling patient with intercostal drain. During the procedure, as a nurse, you should observe the patient's parameters like hemodynamical status, respiratory rate, saturation, and you should help the patient to reduce anxiety during the procedure and monitor the saturation level continuously. Prepare water seal and help the doctor to connect it to the system. Post-procedure care, you should monitor the patient's respiratory status, rate, rhythm and pattern, color of the skin and the patient for any cyanosis, chest pain, pulse, blood pressure, saturation. So after this, once you settle the patient, administer the patient oxygen and keep them relaxed. Auscultation of the lung feeds are very, very essential. Immediately after the procedure and every shift when you move, you should auscultate the lung field and see is there any improvement. Anxiety can be reduced by giving oxygen, painkillers and allowing the relatives to visit the patient. Wound status should be checked and look for any site of infection. Encourage ambulation. This is very, very important. Yes, that is the reason why we use Pleurovac because they can take it and walk around. So ambulation increases the expansion of the lung and increases the draining of the fluid. So encourage the patient to move around. Encourage client for deep breathing and aroma exercise. So deep breathing, coughing exercises with the help of the physiotherapist should be encouraged with the patient. Provide comfort positioning as well as analgesics as per the pain protocol. Record the drain hourly or 24 hours and look for the color and viscosity of the drain. So these are all the post-procedure care. You should emphasize the patient ambulation and breathing exercises. You can ask the patient to do spirometry exercise also with the help of the physiotherapist to improve the expansion of the lung and to prevent the atelectasis. Care of tubing. So how the nurse should take care of the tubings, because the tubing which is too long or too short is going to be a problem. So you should watch the tubings, check for intact tubing. So if there is any problem with the tubing also will affect the what is the need of the procedure. So check for the intact tubing, taped and fixed appropriately. So it should not move around, dangle, so that it will interfere and it will cause pain also. So you have to fix it with the skin as it is in the picture. Length of the tubing should not be too low or too short. Length should be approximately like 38 to 48 inch. Maintain the patency. Check for obstruction. This is very important. The patient himself will be sitting on top of the tubings, so check the tubing whether it is patent without obstruction, on any kinking under the bed or under the chair. So you have to see the tubes are free from any obstruction. Teach the patient to watch for the tubings. Clamp the tubings during transfer, but you have to check for the order before clamping the tubes. Care of water seal. Rod should be immersed 2 cm. If you are using the bottle system, you have to watch whether the tube is immersed in the water. Watch for tidling of the water seal. So the water seal, when you see, it will move, so which is called tidling. Observe for bubbling. Bubbling happens in case of pneumothorax. It is a good sign, but if it is a case of hemothorax or pleural effusion, it is not a good sign. So you have to watch for bubbling. Check the drainage amount and color. Connect to suction if ordered. So you have to look into the water seal for all these things when you are handling a patient with intercostal drain. Removal of the chest tube. So after the attainment of the need, we remove the chest tube. So before the removing the chest tube, we have to assess the patient's lung fields, whether it is clear, and x-ray should be confirmed to check whether the what indication or what is the purpose is attained or not. Watch for the order or written order we should get from the physician. Clamp for 2 hours. Some doctors, they prefer clamping and releasing to check the drain and the patient's condition. So after clamping, you have to monitor the patient whether do they have any signs of respiratory issues. 24 hours drain should be less than 30 ml. We have discussed in the introduction section that the normal pleural fluid is 10 to 20 ml. So the 24 hours drain should be of less than 30 ml is effective. Gather supplies needed for removal of chest tubes. Pre-medication if the patient is having pain. Ask the patient to take a deep exhale and bear down during the removal of tube. So take a deep breath and exhale and hold. So during exactly removal of the tube, they should hold the breath after exhalation. Cover it with a sterile petroleum gauze. This is very essential to prevent air leak. What we do is we cover it with a petroleum gauze so that this site is sealed with the petroleum, so there is no air sucked into the pleural space again. So what are all the complications? Bleeding, dislodgement of the tube, breakage of the bottle if you are using bottle system, pulmonary embolism rarely in some cases, cardiac tamponade. So this is the picture where there is collection of pericardial fluid, which is a complication of this intercostal drain system. Atelectasis, this is the picture which shows collapse of the lung. For that we need to encourage the patient to do ambulation and breathing exercises. And in some cases, subcutaneous emphysema is seen. That is nothing but escape of air into the subcutaneous tissues. Because of the intercostal drain, there is possibility of release or escape of air into the subcutaneous tissue. We say it as subcutaneous emphysema. So watch the patients for all these signs for sign of complications. Other than this, the patient may get the site of infection at the site of insertion due to the poor aseptic techniques. So before moving on to the summary, I just want to give you some discussion on the NCLEX RN questions. So this is a quiz sheet with a few questions. So try to answer this and check whether you are able to understand the video. The nurse managing a patient after chest tube insertion should closely monitor for A. Tachypnea, tachycardia and decreased oxygen saturation. B. Decreased urine output. C. Mild pain at the site of insertion. A decrease in the need for supplemental oxygen. So what is the right answer? Write it down. A patient with a chest tube has no fluctuation of water in water sealed chamber. What could be the cause of this? This is an expected finding. The lung may have re-expanded or there is a kink in the system. The system is broken and needs to be replaced. There is an air leak in the tubing. So if there is no fluctuation in the water seal, what it indicates? Collection of air in the pleural cavity is called pleural effusion, hemothorax, atelectasis, pneumothorax. So collection of air in the pleural cavity is called dash. List down the principles of chest drainage and position of patient during chest drainage system. So in this video we discussed about the definition of chest drain, purpose, indication, mechanism of chest drainage, principles, types of chest drainage system, how to prepare the patient and what is the procedure and the nurse's role and what are the complications expected in case of intercostal drainage system. And we have seen some N+ questions related to intercostal chest drainage system. Thank you. See you in next video.